Hi guys, I'm Robin and I'm going to be doing your dynamic flow workout with you today. It's a mobility based program where we're basically going to be improving the range of motion through our muscles and joints, some reaching, some stretching, some twisting, just getting the body into its corrective alignment and improving how we function on a day-to-day basis. So just first things first, before we're going to get going into anything, I just want to speak a bit about alignment. I want to make sure that from the top of your head through down to your tailbone, you're in a straight line, so you can squeeze that core, close that rib cage, just to make sure everything's in a straight line as we go throughout the workout. You can find a nice clear open space within your living room or at home, and you can just get a mat just for some cushioning, as we are going to do quite a bit of floor work. So whatever you have that's going to make it more comfortable for you, get it together and let's get going. So for our warm-up, we're going to just basically progress into the workout. It is dynamic, so we're just going to keep moving and it will progress as we go through. So we're going to start by interlocking our fingers. We're going to do wrist rotations, a figure 8. So we're going to do 10 of them nice and slow. So just turning them in and out, pushing side to side, flexing and stretching. And 10. Great. From there, we're going to do some arm hugs. So crossing in front of us, nice tight squeeze, and opening up, squeezing those shoulder blades together. Again, closing, rounding the upper back, and opening up. You can move your shoulders and your arms where you feel comfortable. Remember, we're improving our range of motion. It's not just going to get there in one take. Squeeze, one more. And there we go. From here, we're going to just do a knee hug. So finding balance, grabbing onto your knee. If this is too much, you can do this lying down on your back. So giving it a nice tight squeeze and some ankle rotations. So we're going to go out for 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. Changing sides. Nice big squeeze and out for 5. 1, 2, 3. Nice big circles and in for 5. Great. From here, just nice slight bend in the knees, interlocking fingers again. We're going to do an overhead reach, extending up and bringing it back in. If you want to get those ankles extra warm, you can go up onto the toes. Find your balance and down. Nice and long. If going onto your toes is not going to work for you, that's okay. 2 more. And last one. Bring it in. Now we're going to open up, rotating side to side, letting our arms swing with us. If you can face the back of the room, great. If you can't, just a nice easy squeeze. Keep your abs tight to protect that lower back. And last one on each side. And relax. All right, from here, you're going to go into some more knee hugs just to loosen out that lower back. Bringing it up where you feel comfortable. Two more aside. Nice big squeeze. And last one. Okay, standing feet shoulder width apart. You're going to bend your elbows and you're going to act as if you're holding onto something with your hands. And we're going to open out to the side and bring it in. And open out to the side. So an external rotation for those shoulders. Try to keep the elbows nice and close to the body, abs engaged, body in a straight line, and relax. From here, we're going to go into outward leg rotations. So we're going to bend the knee and we're going to take it out, other side. We're going for 5 aside, nice and slow. Try bring your knee up to hip height. And opening out as far out to the side as you can. And relax. From here, we're going to do a squat with the deadlift. So we're going to first start with the deadlift, and then we're going to bend, touch our toes nice and slow, and coming up nice and slow. For this one, because there is no weight, we're going to keep our legs straight, and then squat down, pushing those hips back in line with the knees. We're going to do another 4. So nice and slow, body in a straight line, looking slightly ahead of you, coming up, abs tight. Nice. 3 more to go. And squat. Down into that deadlift. And last one. If you need to put a slight bend in the knees, that's okay. And relax. Opening up the legs slightly wider this time to where you feel comfortable. You can place your hands on the ground, and we're just going to lunge over to the one side. So a nice deep side lunge, and over to the other side. It's best to keep your toes forward so that you get a nice inner thigh stretch. Try and sit in down with your hips, pushing them backwards. Nice. 2 more. And last one. And relax, slowly coming up. From here, we're going to get going into our main workout, which we're going to first just take a short breather and then get going. Going into your first exercise, you're going to grab your fingers, interlock them. You can point your index fingers going forward, or you can just clasp your fingers, whatever works best for you. We're going to breathe out, pushing our upper back and rounding our upper back. And relax, bringing the elbows through, squeezing those shoulder blades together. Going forward. And bringing it in. Squeeze. And one more. And bringing it in. Great. Going into the next exercise. So we're going to take it back behind us, reaching to the top corner, and then bring it round, bringing our fingers together, stretching to the lower bottom corner on the other side. And then we're going to take it to the other side, and then swing over to the lower bottom corner, giving that upper back a stretch. Again, and swinging it round, like you're swinging a baseball bat in slow motion. Taking it back, like you're grabbing something from behind, and swinging it over. Got one more on each side. And up. and swinging it over. And last one. And bringing it over, bottom corner, making it nice and long, and relax. Shake it out. Great, so now going into 5 repetitions of each exercise. We're going to go again from the top into flexion and extension. So clasping your fingers in between each other and breathing out, rounding that upper back. And bringing those elbows in for a nice big squeeze. And then another one. And bring it in. Control your breathing as you do this at a pace that suits you. The aim is to keep moving nice and slow and controlled, flowing through the movements. 2 more to go. And last one. Great, going over into our posterior reach. So we're going to reach back behind us into the upper corner and swing it around into the lower bottom corner and extend. Other side. And swinging it over to the opposite corner. Grabbing something from behind. Swinging it over. You should be getting a nice stretch on those sides as well. Swinging it over. One more on each side. And relax. Shake it out a bit and get ready for the next little set of flow. Great job. So we're going into our next exercise, which is called an archer squat, 3 on each side, and then we're going to go into the next exercise for 3 repetitions. So opening up nice and wide, you can stand on the mat. Okay, and then from here we're going to drop down into a lunge on the one leg, dropping our elbow into that inner thigh, reaching up to the ceiling, and coming back to neutral. Then bending over into the other leg, dipping that elbow in, hand against your chest, and extending the other one up to the ceiling. Okay, another 2 on each side. Try to keep your hips in a straight line, knee in line with the ankle. Look up at your hand. 1 more on each side. Really opening up those hips. Great job. From here, we're going to bring our feet in slightly. You'll put them where you feel comfortable. We're going to go into quite a deep squat. So I would recommend you turn your toes out slightly. From here, we're going to put our hands, bend our knees, hands down on the floor. We're gonna drop our butt down to the ground as low as we can go. Try to keep your chest up. If we're staying up here, that's okay, and we can't touch the ground, that's also fine. So down, and from here we're gonna extend. Get a nice stretch at the back of our hamstrings. Going down again. This time we're gonna add an arm lift. So lifting up our arms. If you can only lift your arms up shoulder height, that's also okay. Placing our hands back down. Last one. If you need to have a slight bend in the knees to keep your hands on the ground, that's okay. Let your upper body hang nice and heavy into the ground. Slight bend in the knees and relax. We're gonna start the sequence over this time 5 on each side. So opening up nice and wide, back to your arches squat. So you can hold your hands in the center of your chest. You can keep your toes facing forward or slightly out, whatever's comfortable for you. Lunging down into the one side and extending up towards the ceiling, looking up at the hand. And coming back over to the other side. Try to get into a nice deep stretch. Down, keep the hips square, shoulders stacked. Imagine your back is against the wall, keeping those hips pushed forward. So again, from the top of your head down to your tailbone in a straight line. 2 more on each side. Last one. And relax, bringing the feet slightly in, repeating our squat and extensions. So toes slightly turned out. Shoulders stacked on top of hips. We're going to place our hands down on the ground. We're going to drop those hips down. If you need to turn out a little bit more, that's also okay. Lift up. And extending those legs. Pulling our hips up to the ceiling. Dropping our head down to the ground. Remember, if you can't lift your hands up to your ears, in front of you is also okay. You can have a slight bend in the knees if you can't straighten out. You should feel a nice pull in those hamstrings. A good pull though. Relax the shoulders. And one more. And slowly roll up. Well done. That's our second flow. We're going to move into our next 2 sets and then take you through it from there. All right, so for your next two exercises, we're gonna repeat them 3 times each on each side. I'm gonna go down to the mat. We're gonna do what we call a thoracic bow. So first, you're gonna set yourself up, getting your hands and knees underneath the hips, hands underneath your shoulders. From here, you're gonna take one hand, slide it through underneath, stacking your shoulders on top of one another, looking up at the ceiling, and bringing it back through and extending up to the ceiling. Again, shoulders stacked, looking up at that hand. Changing to the other side. So reaching through, shoulder flat down on the ground. Look up, try get those shoulders stacked, and then bring it back up, reaching up to the ceiling. And extend up. Sliding it through. And reaching up. Last one on the side. Keep your hand planted firmly into the ground to support you. Slide it through for the last time. And reach up. And relax. Okay, so from here we're going to move into our dynamic frog stretch. So we're going to open our knees as wide as you can. I'm going to start with it first, nice and easy, keeping your feet in line with those knees. You'll have your hands out underneath your shoulders. From here, you're going to push back as far as you can go, pushing that butt down to the heels, and then coming back up. Pushing back to sit, getting a good stretch in that groin. And coming back up. If you want to open a little bit wider, slide your knees further apart. You'll notice you won't sit down as far back as before, but still getting a good stretch and coming back up. Relax. We're going to go into 5 repetitions, again, thoracic bow, into our frog's dynamic stretch. So, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, 5 aside this time. Make sure your abs are braced, and then sliding through, lying down on that shoulder, and extending up, opening the chest, hand reaching to the top of the ceiling. And extending up. Getting a nice stretch in that middle back, sliding it through. And open it up. So the better we can stack our shoulders, the better we're going to get that stretch. 2 more to go. Reaching up nice and tall. Really pressing that supporting hand down into the mat. And last one. Oh. Moving over to get ready for your dynamic frog stretch, opening up those knees as wide as you feel comfortable, hands underneath your shoulders, your feet are in line with those knees, and sitting back, pushing our butt towards those heels, and coming back up. Really relax into this one. Feel free to open slightly wider to get a better stretch. Make sure you have really good cushioning under those knees. We are pushing our weight quite down. Hand up. And one more. And relax. Right, so from here we're going to move into the next exercise, which is a plank into a downward facing dog. So I'm going to turn over, getting my hands underneath my shoulders. So from here I'm going to extend back into a high plank position. I'm going to shift my weight slightly forward to help me push back into that downward dog, and pushing my hips up to the ceiling, pulling my chest closer towards my thighs, and dropping those heels. And slowly pulling back down into that plank. If this is too much, you can drop the knees. Body still in a straight line. And then pushing back into the knees, helping you lift up into your downward facing dog. Pulling those hips up to the ceiling, dropping those knees. And if you need to, drop your knees again. If not, back into your full extension plank. And back up. Next to your hand, whichever foot you like, we're going into our runner stretch, so a nice deep lunge. If this is too heavy for you, we can drop the knee slightly, just for a few seconds, and back up. We're going to open up into a T shape. And bringing it down. Both hands firmly planted on the floor. Quick switch, changing legs, open up. If the switching is too much, you can drop your knees, bring the other foot through, and back to extension. Change sides. And bring it down. Going back into your high plank, repeating now 5 repetitions, holding the plank, and then pushing up into your downward facing dog. Bringing it in. Remember, if you need to drop onto those knees, that's also okay. And pushing back up. Coming into a plank, bringing one leg forward, 5 aside on this runner's lunge. Bring it in, nice and aligned, and open up. Again, if you need to drop that knee, just make sure the focus is on that hip towards the ground, on that back leg. Quick switch. Two more. If you want an extra stretch, really push back into that back heel. Dropping the knee, pushing down on that bottom knee on a nice cushioned surface, opening up that hip. Nice T shape for those who need this option. Nice slow transition, or you can do it on your knees. And relax. Alright, from here, we're going to take our hands to face behind us. Bring your feet nice and comfortably close. We're going to go into a crab overhead reach from here. So we're going to lift up our hips using our legs, pushing into our upper body, releasing one arm and reaching over. Coming back down, replacing the hand on the ground and taking it over to the other side. If you need to keep your hand down and get yourself up first, get yourself set and then release. That's okay. If you can go straight, go for it. and come. If this is too difficult, you can sit down on your knees, under your bottom legs, still hands behind you. This time, just a little bit less weight as we have more support, and just push up. Body in a straight line. Keep your hand in line with the ear. And change over to the other side. So that's a regressed option if you feel you need it. Moving over into our 90-90 sit. So we're going to bring our legs in front of us, just taking it over to sit on one side. Front leg is in front of you in a 90-degree angle. Back leg is pointing towards the back of the room in a 90-degree angle. So from here, I'm just going to start with the reach. So sitting in this position, reaching over that front leg. For those who can, without any hands, swapping over, getting our legs back into position, and reaching over on the other side. Changing over again. So make sure those positions and those legs are correct. Leaning forward onto that front leg, reaching forward. If you want to relax your forehead down to the ground, you may. Going over to the other side, using those hands to walk over. And relax, going back into our crab overhead reach. So, hands behind you, feet nice and planted firmly, either releasing a hand or going up with both hands to release, pushing those hips up. And down. Replacing the other hand. Option with both hands, and releasing as you go up. Remember, for those who need the option, onto your knees, hands behind you, and stretch up. Should still feel those hips opening up nicely. Just a little less weight to carry with that extra support on the ground. And then back to the normal one. Feet in, hands behind you. Up. And coming back down. Off. Turning yourself or positioning yourself however is best back into that 90-90. So getting into that position. Sit forward, reaching ahead of you on that front leg. Using those hands to help you walk over if you need them to. And reaching over on the other side. Really get your body over that front leg, feeling that lower back stretch. Nice long reach. Just make sure it's nice and slow, moving at a pace you feel comfortable with, and holding it there for a couple of seconds. those who don't want to use their hands. One more on each side. Remember to check in with those leg positions. Nice 90 degrees. If you can't lay down as low, just means you have a slightly tighter lower back, and that's okay. And relax. Alright, so we're going to slow things down with a bit of stretching, just focusing on individual muscle groups now from this point. So interlocking your fingers, pushing our hands overhead, holding it nicely. Inhale as you lengthen up nice and tall, and just breathe out to relieve, and bring it in. Another one. And one more. Really pushing those hands up to the ceiling. Abs nice and tight. And relax. From here, crossing one arm over to the other side. Pulling it nice and close to you. Relax the shoulders. And change sides. So you can position the arm in front wherever you feel comfortable, whatever's going to make you feel the exercise best. Change sides. Some feel it better closer up to the elbow, some feel it better lower down the forearm. And change sides. And last one each side. And relax. From here, taking one hand over down your spine, middle finger down your spine, pushing down on that elbow, getting a stretch on the tricep, and just do a slight lean over, engaging those lats. And change sides. Repeat the same thing on the other side, pushing down on that elbow, and then following with a slight lean over. Don't forget to push that elbow down. Change sides. And change sides again. We're going to go for one more on each side. Each time stretching a little bit deeper than before. It might feel difficult now, but it will improve over time. And last one on the side. And relax. From here, pushing our palm forward, grabbing onto those fingertips, pushing forward with the heel of our hand, getting a nice stretch on that bicep and in that wrist. And change sides. Over to the other side. Try not to pull too tight, just enough until you feel a light stretch. Other side. Relax the shoulders. Change over. And last one. From here, you're going to bring your knee up into your chest, give it a nice big squeeze. Making the spine nice and tall through the top of the head. We're going to release it, catch it from behind. If you need to hold on to something for these ones, that's okay. And other side. Bringing the knee up into the chest. Release, catch it from behind. Ooh. So you'll notice we repeat each stretch a couple of times, and this is because this is a mobility focused program. And change sides. Release, catch from behind. Try focus on a point to hold that balance. From here, going into your standing glute stretch, crossing that leg over, dropping that knee in line with the foot. Again, hold on to something if you need to. Feeling that stretch in your lower back, into your glutes, and change sides. Nice and slow and easy. Change sides. Over to the other side. One more on each side. Change. If you fall, that's okay. Just get back up. Great. From here, heel and toe up. You're going to reach forward, pull those toes, getting a nice stretch in that hamstring into the lower back, and pulling those toes closer, you should get a stretch in that calf. Changing sides. If you can't reach your toes, that's okay. Calf, knee, wherever feels comfortable and best for you. Changing over. Other side. Open up that chest. Nice neutral spine. The last time on each side. Focus on pushing those hips back. Great. From here, open up nice and wide. We're going to go into side-to-side lunges, holding them for a little bit longer than we did before. So dropping down into the one side. Try and get nice and low. Really focusing on the stretch on this one. And change sides. Swapping over. You may need to walk your hands across with you. Alternatively, you can have your hands above your knees. Change sides. Whatever option feels best for you. Change over. And last one. Taking it down to the mat. Okay, so from here you're going to come onto all fours, bringing your toes together, opening your knees slightly apart where you feel comfortable, pushing your butt back to sit down on those heels, walking the hands forward into a child's pose. Relaxing your forehead onto the mat. Having a two-way stretch, pulling through the top of your head and pulling those hips down towards the heels. Relaxing those shoulders. And coming up. Taking it down again. And up. And one more. Really trying to get closer each and every time to those heels. And up. Walking your hands back slightly, bringing your knees closer together. Up on those knees, 1 foot forward. We're going to go for a kneeling hip flexor stretch. So pushing forward, down, opening up that back hip. Make sure the knee is in line with the ankle. You can stay upright or drop your hands down to the floor. And staying on your hands, changing legs. Either upright or hands down. Really opening up that hip. and change sides. Changing sides. Again, making sure you have really good cushioning under those knees. And change sides. Last one, hands on the floor for those who may need to. Alternatively, you can press on that front leg for support. And relax. All right, well done guys. That was your dynamic flow workout. I hope you guys enjoyed it and your bodies are feeling rejuvenated, a little bit alleviated, and a little bit more mobile. I hope you keep doing this. I hope it keeps making you function better, and have a great day.